You swallow hard, feeling the deck rock beneath your feet. The night air tastes of salt and doubt, yet a thin thread of curiosity holds you upright. The question hangs in the dark. How will you move when no star points the path? Nietzsche answered by turning the question back at you. Stop asking the heavens, he said. Look inward. If the sky is silent, your heartbeat can speak. He called this radical shift the will to power, but forget the old picture of marching armies and iron fists. In Nietzsche's pages, will to power means the simple, stubborn push of life to grow, to shape, to express itself. A child singing off key in a loud room is will to power in its purest form. Life insisting on its own melody despite the noise. You are that child tonight. You stand before a blank sea and feel the same urge rising. I must sing or sink. So begin small. Pick one thought, one action, and treat it as a seed. Maybe you decide, here in the dark, to keep the helm pointed east until dawn, whether or not you see the sun. Maybe you promise to write one honest sentence each morning, even if no one reads it. The point is not the size of the pledge, but the honesty behind it. A true act, Nietzsche believed, creates a spark. Yet sparks need fuel. Where do you find it when the world feels empty? Turn to what he called eternal recurrence, an idea that sounds huge but lands very simply. Live as if this moment will repeat forever. Picture the wave that slaps your hull right now, repeating again and again. Would you curse it or learn its rhythm? Would you steer differently if you knew the choice never ends? It sifts out flimsy desires and leaves only the wants you can carry for a lifetime. If a goal feels too thin to repeat forever, drop it. Keep the ones that still burn after 10,000 tomorrows. Fear shrinks when you treat each second as a returning friend rather than a thief. Regret loses teeth because you are too busy shaping the next cycle. You stop waiting for rescue. You build a raft from whatever floats. Talent, kindness, stubborn grit, and row. Now the scene widens. Other boats drift nearby, some shouting creeds through broken megaphones, some huddled silent, some pretending their compass still works. At first you feel the pull to copy them, to join any crew that looks sure. Resist. Your why must fit your own hands. Borrowed meaning is a leaky bucket. It holds nothing for long. But guard the rudder of your mind. Nietzsche's overman, the figure so often misunderstood, is simply a person who rules themselves, who writes new maps instead of clinging to dead ones. You do not need capes or crowns to reach that state. You need honesty, courage, and creative patience. Creative patience means allowing awkward first drafts of yourself. A newborn fawn wobbles before it runs. One day you may feel strong, the next day hollow. Do not label the hollow day as failure. Nietzsche compared growth to climbing a series of mountain plateaus. Each rise gives a view, then comes a flat stretch where the horizon looks stuck. That plateau is not the end. It is time to breathe and gather strength. High climbers rest before they push higher. Let yourself rest without quitting. As you climb, watch out for two traps, resentment and denial. Resentment says, the world owes me meaning. Denial says, everything is fine, I need nothing. Both freeze motion. The antidote is gratitude mixed with ambition. Thank life for raw material, then shape it. Thank the sea for its challenge, then set a sail. Gratitude keeps your heart open, ambition keeps your hands busy. Together they form a balanced engine, strong enough to face absurdity without collapsing into either self-pity or numbness. Another tool, laughter. Nietzsche laughed a lot in his writing, not polite giggles, big, earth-shaking laughter at pompous certainties. When your compass spins, laugh at the spin. Humor loosens fear's claws and reminds you that the human adventure is wild, messy, and strangely beautiful. A sailor who can laugh in the dark owns a power no storm can drown. Daylight finally leaks across the horizon, a faint grey line so thin you almost doubt it. Yet your eyes catch the change. The water shifts colour, the air warms by a single, fragile degree. You realise you have endured the worst part of night. Your compass still spins, but now you see a ripple pattern hinting at shore. Maybe it is illusion, maybe not, but you steer toward it, because steering feels better than drifting. That choice alone fills your chest with a quiet pride. Remember this pride when the sun climbs and critics appear. They will question your homemade direction. They will say you are foolish to trust inner fire over established road signs. Smile gently. They speak from their map. You act from your voyage. Invite them aboard if they seek honest travel, but refuse to trade your helm for their approval. Nietzsche warned that herd instinct tempts every traveler to fold back into safety. Safety is sweet, but suffocating. Risk is hard, but alive. As noon brightens the deck, you notice the compass needle has slowed. It still wobbles, yet begins to lean consistently toward one quadrant. Did the magnetics change, or did your steady course influence the tool? Hard to tell, and it does not matter. Instruments serve the will that wields them, not the other way around. Celebrate this small alignment, then keep scanning the waves. Scan inside too. The sea outside mirrors the sea in your chest. Some swells hide buried memories, old pains, ancestral scripts. Nietzsche urges you not to drown these ghosts, but to integrate them. Use them as ballast. A ship with proper ballast rides storms better. Write letters you never send, speak aloud in empty cabins, dance until sweat washes sorrow. Integration turns ghosts into crew. By dusk you spot birds. Where birds fly, land waits. You laugh again, a raw sound carried by wind. You recall how the night tried to convince you nothing matters. Yet here is evidence of mattering. Your pulse, your chosen heading, the faint outline of coast. The lesson is not that meaning was out there all along. The lesson is that meaning grew as you moved. Like a shadow forming only when light meets form, purpose appears where action meets awareness. You promise yourself to remember this when the next dark stretch comes. And it will come, because seas are wide. When it does, your memory of this day will serve as secondary compass, built from lived proof that effort sparks direction. Nietzsche called such memories yes-saying, the deep affirmation of life exactly as it is, night and day together. Build a library of yes inside you. Stock it with moments when you refused despair and found motion. Night falls again, but it feels different now. Stars reappear, not as gods, but as companions. You still hear the question, what if nothing means anything? You answer softly, then I will mean something anyway. That answer is enough to keep the wheel steady. You lean against the rail and let the hush settle into your bones. A breeze lifts your hair, cool and steady, carrying the faint scent of land, mixed with salt. You study the stars, not for fate, but for friendship. They remind you that even distant lights can guide without demanding worship. In the quiet, you test a new vow, love whatever comes. Nietzsche called it amor fati, love of fate, a calm yes to the whole script, edits and all. Loving fate does not mean cheerleading pain, it means greeting every scene as raw material. Joy is clay, sorrow is clay, boredom is clay. You choose what shape to give it. Soon the sea serves its next lesson. A low wave slaps the hull and sprays cold water across your face. For a second you flinch, then you laugh because the splash tastes like proof you are alive. Even discomfort carries energy if you stop labeling it enemy. Nietzsche urged you to treat setbacks like weights in a gym. They tear tiny fibers so stronger, fibers can grow. Think of an insult, a flat tire, a broken promise as sandpaper. It stings, but it also smooths rough edges if you keep moving. Each grain whispers, "Use me." Morning stretches wide and gold, and with it comes work. Purpose is not a shining gem you find, it is a muscle you build, so you set daily reps, one honest line in your journal, one brave conversation, one act of care no one applauds. Small reps beat grand speeches because they happen. A gardener who plants one seed each dawn ends the year with a forest, while the dreamer who waits for perfect weather never digs. Will to power is less raw, more rhythm, a drumbeat you refuse to miss. By noon the shore appears jagged and inviting. You feel a rush of reward, then a strange sadness. The goal is near, but the thrill of earning it begins to fade. Nietzsche warned about this dip. The danger of believing the game ends when you reach a finish line. Life is not a sprint with medals. It is a dance with changing tempos. Celebrate arrival, breathe, then ask, what new hill calls? Contentment is a rest note, not the final chord. Stepping onto land, you meet people who stayed behind tall walls, protecting old maps. They greet novelty with locked gates. One tells you that new paths are reckless. Another swears the stars fix their course forever. You feel the tug to argue, but you remember silence can teach louder than debate. Instead, you live your new compass openly. You cook strange meals, sing unfinished songs, share stories of spinning needles that became steady. Some skeptics soften not from your words, but from the proof of your walk. Living philosophy needs no megaphone. Yet even bold walkers tire. One dusk, your feet ache, and doubts sneak back like mosquitoes. You wonder if all this choosing is just disguise for chaos. In that hour, recall Nietzsche's image of the rope over an abyss. Humanity, he said, is a rope between beast and overman, shaky, but meant for crossing. Feeling shaky is not evidence of failure, it is evidence you are on the rope. Grip the fibers, feel the wind, keep stepping. The wobble is part of the miracle. Find companions who respect the wobble. Not cheerleaders who insist you smile, not cynics who bet on your fall, but real allies who admit their own balancing act. Two ropes can be tied side by side, sharing tension without tangling identities. Walk together when storms rage. Walk alone when your stride demands focus. Remember, the overman is not a lone wolf, but a self-led wolf able to choose pack or solitude without losing direction. Comparison is a hidden storm. One day a neighbor's boat gleams brighter, their sail catches wind faster, and envy coils in your gut. Here Nietzsche hands you a mirror. Envy shows what you want to grow. Instead of cursing their shine, study it. What effort did it take? What value does it reflect? Turn jealousy into blueprint, then get back to work. Someone else's summit can light your trail if you see it as lighthouse, not verdict. Inevitably, an unexpected gale roars in. Plans scatter like gulls, gear breaks, and you taste panic's metal on your tongue. In that chaos, practice the simplest discipline. Breathe deep. Name what matters most right now. Act on that alone. Nietzsche admired the ancient Stoics for this exact calm under fire. Their power to focus on inner choice when outer control vanished. When the mast cracks, tie rope. When rope snaps, grab plank. When plank sinks, swim. Action shrinks terror to size. Art helps too. Paint sloppy waves on driftwood, hum half-remembered lullabies, shape clay from riverbanks. Creation turns raw feeling into something visible, something you can place on a shelf and study. Nietzsche believed every true thinker is also an artist. Ideas must dance into color, rhythm, or story to stay alive. Your rough song today might ease a stranger's night years from now. Make it anyway. Guard against the soft poison of irony, that cool shrug that says nothing deserves earnest effort. Cynicism poses as wisdom, but lives on fear of disappointment. Better to risk looking naive than to rot behind sarcasm's shield. Nietzsche praised the spirit of the child who builds castles just to feel joy, then cheers when waves wash them away so new castles can rise. Be that child with grown hands. Your body is the first castle. Feed it well, stretch it, rest it under honest darkness. A tired brain sees only meaninglessness. A rested brain spots hidden paths. Walk barefoot when safe. Let sun warm your spine. Drink water before coffee. Some call this wellness. Nietzsche might call it honoring the animal within. The rope between beast and higher self needs both ends strong. Night dreams carry secret charts. Keep a notebook by your bed. If you wake from a lion chasing you, ask what chase you avoid by day. If you fly weightless, ask where your waking life begs for lift. Dreams speak in symbols, not sermons. Decode them gently, no rigid keys. Over time patterns appear, guiding like those stars on your first night at sea. Age will try to sell you resignation, the claim that discovery belongs to youth. Refuse politely. Nietzsche wrote some of his most daring pages while ill, half-blind, nearly alone. Creativity is not a time ticket. It is a stubborn guest who stays if you keep a chair open. Greet each decade as a new continent, different climate, new fruits, hazards worth mapping. Now dusk returns, the second cycle since you found shore. A fire crackles, and friends sit around sharing bread. You listen more than you speak, feeling words rise only when needed, like fresh water from an underground spring. Someone asks, "How did you cross the dark sea?" You smile and answer with a tale, not advice. You trusted a spinning compass, loved the night, laughed at storms, and kept planting seeds. The listener nods, eyes bright with possibility. As flames die down, you step away and gaze at the sky once more. Stars pulse, ancient and indifferent, yet somehow intimate. You realize the love you offer to existence loops back as quiet strength. You are not puppet or pawn, you are co-author. Your pages mingle with cosmic ink, and the story keeps writing itself through your next choice and the next. You feel light, yet grounded, exactly where you need to be for the journey that begins again tomorrow. You wake before sunrise. A thin mist hugs the trees, and the ground is cool under your feet. You breathe in the quiet and feel a question forming. Now that you stand on land, what kind of life will you build? You recall the way the spinning compass began to steady only when you committed to move. The lesson is clear. Direction follows action, not the other way around. So you start with motion, even small motion, stacking driftwood for a shelter, clearing stones for a garden. Each simple task lays a brick in the temple of your new meaning. Hands deep in soil, you find a wild seed, tiny, dark, almost invisible. You tuck it into the earth and a whisper crosses your mind. This is how ideas grow. They hide at first, then swell once water and sun meet them. Nietzsche spoke of becoming who you are, a phrase that sounds like a puzzle until you realize it means tending hidden seeds until they show their color. Becoming is gardening, patience, cuts, seasons of seeming nothing. Trust the nothing, roots work in silence. Soon, neighbors appear, curious. They watch you dig and ask why you bother. They say storms will flatten young plants, that soil is thin here. You listen, nod, then keep digging. Your calm action is your answer. Nietzsche's will to power again. Less about talk, more about shape. You shape the ground, and that shape speaks louder than any debate. Some neighbors lend tools, others scoff and leave. Both reactions teach, one about help, the other about self-belief. You thank the helpers and let scoffers be. Not every voice deserves the same seat in your mind. Afternoons bring heat and sweat. You feel tired, but a steady chant runs in your head. Choose the next right task. Choice after choice, the path unfolds. Nietzsche warned that tiredness can invite the worst critics, the inner ones. When exhaustion whispers, "Why bother?" meet it with water, shade, and a short rest. Care for the body, and the spirit follows. You are not a mind floating alone. You are skin, muscle, heartbeat. Respect that animal side, and the higher side can flex its wings. One evening, storms roll in thick and fast. Wind rattles new walls. Rain lashes the roof you barely finished. For a heartbeat, fear commands, hide, regret, give up. But instead, you light a lantern and stand by the door. You watch how the structure bends, how water finds weak spots, how earth drinks. The storm is a teacher. Nietzsche might grin here. What does not break, you can teach you how to bend. When dawn returns, you patch leaks with stronger wood. Your shelter is now wiser, because the first design met reality and changed. Days turn into weeks. The small seed sprouts, green and bold. You kneel beside it and feel pride ripple through you. No one else may see this moment as grand, but you know the nights of doubt it took to arrive here. Value measured from inside weighs more than public praise. Nietzsche's overman is rich in such inner coins. Let the outside world keep score however it likes. You are busy counting growth rings only you can see. New travelers arrive, voices from cities burned out on old maps. They hear of a coast where people plant their own meaning. They ask if you will lead them. The request flatters and worries you. Nietzsche warned about false saviors and blind followers. Leadership, he implied, is not loud commands, but bright example. So you share what you know, how to listen to spinning compasses, how to love fate, how storms teach design. You add a soft warning. Keep your eyes on your own soil. My path fits my feet. Yours will bend elsewhere. Some nod and start digging their own plots. A few beg for shortcuts. You offer none, because shortcuts rob the walker of bone-deep knowing. True paths earn themselves. One cloudy morning, a traveler brings a book of sacred rules, claiming it holds eternal truths. He urges everyone to follow line by line. The crowd buzzes, hungry for certainty. You open the book, read a page, and feel its heavy beauty and its cage. You return it with respect, saying, "If these lines nourish you, use them. If they shrink you, rewrite them." The traveler scowls, but others seem relieved. Nietzsche's call sounds again. No book outranks your lived experience. Wisdom printed in ink must meet life's edits or turn brittle. Work grows faster when hands join. You and your new companions craft irrigation ditches, share harvests, trade songs around evening fires. Community sprouts, not from uniform beliefs, but from shared practice. You learn that meaning multiplies when passed along. A joke told during weeding lightens 10 backs. A story of night seas helps a newcomer keep rowing through private darkness. Each gift returns, often changed, like water, cycling from sky to soil to plant to breath. Yet community tests patience. A neighbor's dog tramples seedlings. A friend forgets to repay a loan. Small frictions threaten to flare. Instead of scolding, you call for a silent meal. Everyone sits, chewing slowly. In the quiet, anger cools. Afterward, solutions appear. Fences, reminders, apologies. You see how silence again proves its power. Nietzsche loved music because rests make notes sing. Social life needs rests too. Create pauses, and conflict can find its own off-ramp. Seasons shift, and your body changes with them. Joints ache on cold mornings. Eyes strain at dusk. You adapt. Warmer clothes. Lanterns hung lower. Tasks swapped among ages. You trade speed for craft. Nietzsche respected limits when faced squarely. They can guide new art forms. A broken voice teaches whisper songs. A scarred hand sculpts gentler lines. Accepting a limit can open a door perfection never noticed. One night you lie awake, staring at a moonlit ceiling, and a strange loneliness floats in. Surrounded by friends, purpose, and growing fields, you still feel an empty space. You recall Nietzsche's thought, "The deeper self is a well without bottom. Meaning will not fill it permanently. Instead, it invites you to keep lowering buckets. Each new pool brings fresh water, knowledge, connection, wonder. The well is not flaw, it is invitation. Thirst drives discovery. You smile, grateful even for the ache." Morning brings a traveler who speaks of distant mountains, glowing red at dawn. Your compass stirs at the word mountain. You remember the rope over the abyss and feel the old call to climb again. Comfort has begun to soften your edge. Nietzsche would nudge, "Do not let today's garden become tomorrow's cage." You gather supplies and tell your friends you will scout new paths. Some feel sad, others inspired, a few angry. You hug each one, plant seeds of farewell, and promise to return with stories. As you set out, the compass wobbles once more, but you welcome its spin. It means you are at the start of new learning. You walk with steady breath, grateful for muscles forged by soil work. Behind you, the community hums on, proof that personal meaning can seed shared worlds. Ahead, mystery shines. You whisper Amor Fati into the wind and feel it answer with a gentle push up the slope. Your journey begins again, as journeys always do, on the edge between known and unknown. You set your boots on the first slope just as dawn brushes the stone with pale gold. The smell of crushed sage lifts from the ground, and each breath tastes new. Step by step, you climb through low clouds that drift like ghosts of yesterday's fears. Behind you, the sea gleams, already smaller, proof that perspective changes with altitude. Ahead rises a ridge jagged as broken glass yet shining where the sun strikes. The climb is slow, but slowness forces attention. Calloused fingers gripping rough edges, lungs pacing themselves, mind tuned to the scrape of boot on rock. Halfway up, the path disappears under loose scree. Stones slide, threatening to spill you backward. Old habits of safety whisper, "Turn around." Instead, you widen your stance and move with the stones, letting each slip teach balance. Nietzsche admired dancers for that reason. They turn gravity into grace. Think of every unstable rock as a dance partner, unpredictable, yet rhythmic once you listen. Shift weight, allow the glide, catch yourself, repeat. Sweat stings your eyes, but a grin breaks through. You are learning to dance with danger. At a ledge you rest. Wind rushes upward, cool and wild, and with it memories rise. Failures, regrets, names you tried to impress, faults you tried to hide. You don't push them away. You invite them to sit like weather-worn friends. Nietzsche's Amor Fati returns. Love even the scars. You trace one regret, a friendship lost to pride, and whisper thank you. The memory softens. Pain turns into instruction. Keep ego light. Keep hearts open. You stand again as if a hidden pack has been lifted. You reach a plateau where sunlight paints everything amber. A grey-haired traveller plays a wooden flute, the melody drifting like water over stones. Without stopping, he nods hello. After a verse, he lowers the flute and says, "Each note vanishes, but the mountain hears." His words echo Nietzsche. Art is the great yes to life's fleeting nature. You share dried fruit, trading stories without hurry. When you rise, he calls, "Remember, pace follows breath." The next stretch grows steep, air thins, thoughts scatter like leaves until only the now survives. Nietzsche wrote that the greatest awe appears where thought falls silent and pure experience begins. Mind quiet, senses bright. You edge past a cliff that drops into blue mist. One misstep could end everything, yet fear gives way to focus. replaced by an almost childlike trust in each foothold. Afternoon leans toward evening. Thunder rumbles like distant drums. You spot a shallow cave and slip inside just as rain explodes against the cliff. Lightning reveals ancient paintings, figures dancing around a spiral sun. You laugh aloud. Ancestors left their own compass here, proof that meaning-making is older than any book. Kneeling, you add a symbol, a coiled wave meeting a rising mountain. One stroke to mark your journey. Rain eases to drizzle. You step out, air crisp and charged. Water streams off rock faces, feeding rivulets that sparkle in waning light. You cup your hands, drink minerals older than cities. Nietzsche saw health as a bridge to higher thoughts. Dehydration shrinks imagination. You promise to honor basics: water, rest, simple food. Philosophy thrives in a tended body. The summit looms near, a silhouette against bruised sky. The final approach is a near vertical chimney. Holds are wet and cold. Courage wavers. Nietzsche said great peaks require a long obedience in the same direction. One move, then another. Fingertips burn, calves shake, but at last you haul yourself onto the crest. Wind roars like applause. The world spreads in every direction, a quilt of rivers, forests, and the distant spark of your seaside village. Exhaustion and joy mingle. You lie on your back and watch stars ignite one by one. The question returns, does life have meaning? Under cosmic vastness you reply, life offers raw possibility. Meaning is the shape we carve into it. This carved summit, this pounding heart, this view, your latest shape. Tomorrow you'll carve again. A thought flickers. Everything you value could vanish. Health, friends, memory. The void is real. Nietzsche never denied it. He challenged you to fill it with artful courage. You sit up and whisper, yes. The word feels like fire in cold air. You didn't erase nihilism, you outsang it. Peace settles with the stars. You begin descent under moonlight, careful yet eager. Sharing the view matters. Wisdom hoarded is stale bread. Nietzsche pictured philosophers as physicians of culture, diagnosing decay and prescribing new values. Your prescription is simple: risk honest climbs, dance with slipping stones, carve symbols for the next climber. Halfway down, you meet a group struggling on scree. You teach them the dance. Let the stones move, then catch. Their relief turns into laughter that echoes across the valley. At base camp, fires crackle. Stories trade like coins. You notice how each tale bends around a personal why. Childhood promise, lost love, stubborn dream. No two compasses match exactly, yet every storyteller's eyes shine the same. Purpose, you realize, is plural, like stars. The sky needs them all. Before sleep, you jot lessons. Pace follows breath. Scars can instruct. Art recycles pain. Void answered with yes loses bite. Share techniques, not dogmas. Ink glistens, then dries. You close the book, inhale pine-scented night, and feel ready for whatever dawn shapes next. During the quiet hours before sleep, you attend to dreams as Nietzsche advised. Rehearse tomorrow in imagination so the mind greets it like an old friend. You picture morning embers, the path home, the faces that will ask what the heights taught you. You decide to bring back not instructions, but questions, better seeds for each unique garden. You smile, realizing your journey never truly belonged to mountains or seas. It belonged to practice, to the daily turning of chaos into melody. Just before drifting off, you notice campfire sparks, rising and vanishing in the dark. Each spark echoes a human life, brief, bright, unrepeatable. You feel no despair at their quick fade. Instead, you sense a vast music created by every spark's short song. A distant owl calls, and its lonely note feels like encouragement, a reminder that every voice, even single and small, adds color to the dark. You bank that idea like a coal in pocket, planning to kindle it when storms return again. Morning glows soft as you break camp and step onto the downward trail. Dew beads on every pine needle, tiny mirrors of the sky you came from. Your legs feel used but strong, moving with easy rhythm learned from the climb. Each footfall thuds like a drum. Choose, choose, choose. A squirrel darts across a log, fearless in its own small mission. The sight reminds you that purpose need not roar. Sometimes it chitters, gathers, leaps. By noon you reach the valley edge where the new river meets the old road. People wait there, their eyes full of restless questions. They ask what treasure lies above the clouds. You offer no relic, only a story of slipping stones, shared fruit, and a single word whispered against the void. Some nod, some frown, but every face softens at the mention of laughter ringing on the slope. You invite them to taste risk for themselves, and a few step forward while others linger, studying their maps with fresh doubt. You follow the river toward the coast. The current hums beside you like a calm friend. At bends you pause to drop small cans, 3 stones stacked, to mark places where courage shifted shape. Travelers behind may see these quiet towers and feel less alone. This is how unknown teachers pass lessons, signs without signatures. Late light finds you at the bluff above your village. Smoke curls from chimneys. Boats rock in the harbor you once feared to leave. You realize the shore did not change, your eyes did. The sea is still wide, the night still dark, but the compass inside you now hums with a steady pulse. It points not to a fixed star, but to the next honest act. Greet loved ones, mend nets, plant seeds from distant hills, rest, then wander again. You descend the path, heart easy, boots dusty, pockets full of questions to share around the evening fire. Children run to meet you, shouting for stories. You kneel, smile, and begin with the simplest truth you know. The world may hold no pre-written meaning, yet every step you carve can sing. The fire crackles, sparks rise, and new journeys flicker to life in shining eyes. Beyond the waves, night gathers for its test. You feel ready. You carry a lantern whose fuel is choice, whose light is action. Wherever darkness falls, you will walk, plant, laugh, keep the story going.